Good evening, everybody. Hope you guys had a good week. We'll be starting here in a couple of minutes. Good day, everybody. Hold on for a second. Hold on. All right, let's switch it up here a little bit here. How you guys doing today? I hope you guys had a great week. Welcome to the broadcast. So glad that you guys are here and joined us this evening. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right. There you go. We got it together now. So glad that you guys are here. Welcome. It is Friday, February the 7th, 2025. Another great day out here in Arizona. I think we reached today up to 74, I think it was. Nice, beautiful day. If you had a car with the top, you could take the top off. It was that kind of day. Really nice. How was the weather where you live? I know the rest of the country was probably pretty on the cool side, but it is, this is the time of the year. But I told you, I don't miss the cold weather for nothing, okay? I don't miss it at all. I like looking at the snow. I like walking in it a little bit, but that's about it. I ain't trying to go in there. Okay, so tonight, we're going to hit a lot of topics tonight, okay? And when the broadcast is over, I'll go back and chapter everything out for you. We're going to talk about this whole Doge situation and them just going in and with the chainsaw and just going through DC, man. It's really something. But they ain't the first ones that did it. But lately, there was some news that came out by one of them a little racist. So we don't talk about that. Is that something we should be concerned about? We also going to talk about some behind the scene info that's coming out regarding Obama and Biden. We're going to take a look at a video on that one. We're also going to talk about this whole issue about the Black National Anthem. Is that something we should be still? Do you even know the words? How about that? We're going to talk about something else, and we're going to get into chemtrails. Yes, chemtrails are very much real and is being confirmed, has been confirmed, and continue to be confirmed. So anyway, glad that you guys are here. And like I said, again, we're going to have a pretty full broadcast this evening, and I hope to be able to hit all of it that we're going to be talking about. And like I said, if you're just watching now, if you're just tuning in later on, what I will attempt to do, what I'll try to do is at the end of the broadcast, when it's all over, I'll go back, and what I'll do is I'll chapter everything out so you can get right to the sections, very easily. Okay, really quick, because I got to do it. We're going to go and look at what's going on at Samba Tree very quickly. As you know, we got a promo that's going on right now. I tell you, this pain stuff is flying out the window. There's a lot of folks out there with some pain. And yeah, so make sure you check this out. We got a promo going on right now for that. And then, you know, if you look at the email here, I mean, we're beating the price of what you're getting out in these other stores here. Okay. And we're showing you, what we're paying right now. So if you go to Walmart, the same thing will be $19.98, basically $20. If you go to Amazon, it'll be $20 as well. Guess how much we're selling it for? $14.95. I told you our goal here is to make things affordable. I mean, we got to still operate as a business, but at the same time, we're just wanting to get good products into hands of folks so that our people can get well from a natural perspective. Okay, so in whole and wellness and all of that. Again, the website is sambatree.com. This right here, my wife wanted to make sure want me to tell y'all that we're almost out. I think we got about 20 more units left of this sea moss gel. Many of y'all have been jumping in on this. Again, once it's gone, it is gone. If you are looking for a very flavorful way to get sea moss in you, 92 minerals, in these jars. That's what sea moss has. You get these minerals in you, I'm telling you, it will start setting your body off in the right direction. Sea moss is some powerful stuff. And what we were able to secure is a product that actually takes raw sea moss. They process it, it's all natural. And then they infuse it with fruit. All right. So we got strawberry, blueberry, pineapple, mango, and then we have the regular kind as well. And so, yeah, so if you pick 3 gels, you get $15 off. And then we have, in this post we did on how to use turmeric, your complete guide to golden spice. So if you've purchased turmeric, either from us or anybody, make sure you read that, because a lot of times people will purchase things and they don't know how to use it. But that is a very comprehensive post that we did that kind of breaks down everything and let you know how to use turmeric, because it's great for a number of things. And check out the site. Again, this is sambatree.com. What I'm going to start doing is we're going to, I'm going to give myself, I'm going to say, you know what, once a week, I think I could do this. We're going to start changing up the artwork a little bit, making it even more, a little bit interesting, and so this afternoon, playing around a little bit, came up with this. What y'all think of this? Yeah, I really, really, really like this. And we're going to be putting all types of art in here. So, once a week for now, if I, depending on how I'm feeling that day or whatever, I may have 2 images, that will show up and all of that. So, yeah, so we're going to be changing things up and all of that. And remember, on the bottom left-hand corner, you have a chat bot there. If you got any questions regarding your order or different things there, you'll be able to click this below on the bottom left-hand corner and get a lot of your questions answered, not all of them. And then on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side, you got the rewards program. Everything you purchase, it goes towards a rewards program, where you can use those points to go towards future orders and things like that, okay? We got a lot of things on here. Everything health and wellness, that is the focus of the site. Everything from teas to natural capsules to bitters to oils, all kinds of things. Check it out. Again, the website is sambatree.com. All right, so there you go. Just wanted to let you know of that. And let's see. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started here. Like I told you, I ain't got time to be playing tonight. Let's see. Where are we going to begin? Let's see. Let's begin with here. Let's see. And if, like I said, if you're brand new, this is your first time here at the site, on our YouTube, welcome. And when we do these live broadcasts, what we try to do, when we're doing news, like we're doing news tonight, we try to touch on quite a few topics. All right. So, and then we're going to, like I said, again, I'm going to try to make sure I bookmark it for you, once everything is over, so to make it a lot easier for you to navigate and get to what you are interested in hearing. Did you guys hear about this? This is TD Jakes TD Jakes, you know, I mean, these are, it's like I said again, it's TD Jakes, it's the Jamal Bryant. I mean, they're all the same. They're all the same. But if you've been following us on this platform, on our platform, we have been, you know, one of the things we have taken an in-depth look at is Christianity itself, its origins, its roots. Where did it come from? What were the influences? The whole nine. We do that on our other platform. It's called Long Form History. All right. And I will be uploading a lot more videos because we have done years of work that I need to get back uploaded so that you guys can access it. And TD Jakes is saying something quite interesting here that threw a lot of people off. Let me go ahead and bring it up on the screen here, and let's take a listen to what was pissing off a lot of people and what he said. Take a listen here to TD Jakes and something he said in a recent sermon he did.
And the voice of the Lord walked through the cool of the garden, and God said, Adam, where art thou? He didn't ask where Eve was because Adam was Eve's mama.
I don't know if you caught that. He said Adam was Eve's mom. And, you know, I know for many of y'all, you're like, what? Like, he wrong, he off and all of that. And, you know, it does sound a bit crazy. But when you understand that Christianity, the root of Christianity in of itself would not exist if it wasn't for Judaism. A lot of people don't want to accept that, but it's true. Historically, it is true. And you just got to look, y'all. I mean, it's not like I got this personal revelation of this. There is much historical record that proves this. Okay. You can't get around it. Okay. And so when you look at Judaism, when you study Judaism, their perception of God is this very gender fluid being. You know, they believe that what we call God is a being that has between, 7 to 9 different genders. You know, when you look at all the people that push these different genders, gender identifications, a lot of these organizations, many of the loudest voices that are pushing these things are people that are Jewish. We've pointed this out as well. And if you want to know where it comes from, ultimately, it's their belief system. So when you look at how they perceive God, how they perceive what we call the Holy Spirit, they perceive it as one that it's a very gender fluid being. And so TD Jakes, as crazy as it sounds, what he's saying, because for many who grew up in the church or grew up reading the Bible or whatever, our understanding of, you know, based on the Bible, of who God is that we were taught that he was a he. There is no he, she. It's a man. He's a man, you know, whatever, right? And same thing with Jesus. Jesus, he was a man and all of that, right? But again, when you go into the Hebrew and all of that, and you really look at it and listen to them, not these Negroes that are out here that picked up a half of a Jet magazine version of Hebrew 101 and they want to teach you like they've been studying it for years. I mean, no, you got to listen to the actual rabbis that have been doing this since they were a baby. You got to listen to those folks, okay? And they will tell you that this is what they believe when they talk about the Shekinah glory or the Shekinah, when you see these rabbis rocking back and forth like that, when they're at the Wailing Wall or whatever, what they're doing is a sexual act. Okay, that's what they're doing. I forgot the word for it, but basically when they're rocking back and forth, you fill in the blanks. Okay, but they will tell you that's what they're doing. Okay, but again, when it gets to how they perceive who God is or the Great Spirit, whatever they define it as, they see it as a being that has at least, some will tell you like 7 genders, others will tell you 9 genders. Again, you got to follow their history. When you go in their history in Germany, you know the whole thing with them burning those books when the Germans were, the Nazis were burning books. We were taught that they were burning books of just great literature and art and all of this other stuff. They just were just a bunch of thugs that didn't want people to read books anymore. Nope, that ain't true. That is not true at all. The truth of the matter is that what they were doing, and no, I'm not pro-Nazi or anything like that, okay? So don't get ahead of yourself. What they were doing, it was that there was an entire movement that was going on in Germany at that time, where basically you had this group of people, the chosen, that were pushing these narratives, these different genders and all this stuff that was going on in Germany. And so one of the things that they did was, as soon as they reached a certain point of power, they started going into, I forgot the name of it. It was a sex library. Okay. This was a sex library in Germany, and it was referred to, and they said there has never been an accumulation of that amount of sex material since the Roman Empire. That's how much materials they had in there. I can see the guy's name. I can't think of it right now. The doctor that was behind this, but it was a library, and there's all kind of pictures and stuff. And he performed the first gender operation. He did that. There was a bunch of stuff, and there was a bunch of pictures and stuff that were in books and stuff that they were publishing on the topic. And so they said, nah, enough of this. We're getting out of this. We done with this. That's what the Germans were saying. And so they burned it up. So that's what you see when you're looking at your history books and you see these Germans burning up all these piles of books. That's what the books were. But where did they get that belief system from? They came from their ancient belief system and how they perceive God. All right. I know I gave you a whole lot there, but scaling it back to what TD Jakes is saying here and what he's alluding to, talking about how Adam is the wife of Eve and all this other stuff. I heard it and I was like, yeah, well, I know where he's getting that from. So this is why it's important for you to take the time and to look these things up for yourself, okay? To understand where these different belief systems come from. Many of you grew up in a household where the Bible was given to you, and you just said, and they told you, God said it, I believe it, and that settles it, and don't you dare question this thing. And you just went along with it. But we encourage you here, no, you need to start asking some real questions. You need to start investigating. And we've been telling you there are many tools that are coming out now that makes it super easy for you to ask these questions that you've been thinking about. There's tons of AI platforms that are free. ChatGPT, Grok. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. You can start asking it, where did the name Bible actually come from? Ask that, type that in and see what answer you get from that. Who is the goddess of that city? You know, and we did a whole video on that. The name Bible actually came from a town that was under, a Canaanite rule. And the name of it was Byblos. Byblos. I got a video on that. And the god was like a Canaanite Babylonian god. So this word Bible actually is named after a town that named their chief god or goddess is a Babylonian god. Did you know that? But people just think the word Bible just fell out of heaven. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is I get on here all the time and I encourage people, listen, you got to stop taking people's word for it, and you got to start investigating for yourself, okay? And that's what we were doing this week, looking at these finances and stuff like that. I'm going to show you some websites that you can go to, and you can start looking these things up for yourself, okay? Don't let people try to tell you what to think and what to believe. No, there's too many tools out here where you can take your lazy behind up and you can start finding these things out for yourself. So TD Jakes is right on track on what on ultimately where this train is going to lead. Same thing with Jamal Bryant. All of a sudden his church, they pro LGBTQ. He's right on track with that belief system. But a lot of people don't believe that. They just think, oh, no, he's right on track, actually. All right, let's move on. All right, next topic here. Now, I tell you, this is one of the reasons why I would never want to get into politics is because I would never know who to trust. I would never know who to trust because there are some people out here, boy, they will throw you under the bus in a minute if the price is right. And I just couldn't do it, you know? And so, I just couldn't do it. And so you will see this in all throughout DC. And, you know, there are people that I don't care if they're a Democrat. I don't care if they're a Republican. It doesn't matter. They will tell for the right price or the right opportunity, they will tell on each other. They will throw each other under the bus just like that. And so I just couldn't do it. But anyway, there's this woman, her name is Lindy Lee. And she actually used to work in the Biden administration, but then she also worked for the Kamala's campaign. She was very high up. I think she was like in the Treasury or something like that. Well, anyway, she just got fed up with things. I guess they threw her under the bus or whatever. So she been out here singing like the Temptations and, you know, starting to tell everything. And this is a clip I want to play for you of an interview that she did on this podcast. I believe his name is Sean Ryan. I want you to take a listen because she is dropping some serious truths, or, you know, revelations, I should say, about the things that were actually going on in the Biden White House and also Obama's influence as well. So let's take a listen to this interview. It's about 9 minutes long. And let me go ahead and play this for you. Take a listen.
It was for sure Obama's third term. I don't think that's even a question. But also, he didn't have much faith in Kamala Harris. Before she ascended to the top role, he was vetting people like Mark Kelly and Andy Bashir.
So who is running it? Who are the names? A lot of people say it was Obama's third term. There's rumors of, you know, and these are friends of mine that are moderate Democrats say that they thought it was Elizabeth Warren running it. They thought it was Bernie Sanders running it. But I think the general consensus, I think if you asked, you know, the majority of the population, they think it was Obama's third term.
It was for sure Obama's third term. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think anyone it definitely was. And that's why you saw Obama fighting for his dear life. Why was he fighting so hard in the fall? Because he was fighting for his fourth term. He was fighting for his own legacy. The relationship between Obama and Biden is most reminiscent of that between LBJ and JFK. JFK had little respect for Lyndon B. Johnson, but he picked him anyway because he wanted to win the South. He wanted to win Texas. But he had very little respect for LBJ's intellect. JFK was surrounded by his Harvard brain trust, and he had immense disdain for LBJ's Texas Hill Country vibe. And that was the same attitude that Obama had towards Biden. Obama thought that Biden would eventually fuck everything up. And that's eventually actually what happened. Mm-hmm. So, but also he didn't have much faith in Kamala Harris. Before she ascended to the top role, he was vetting people like Mark Kelly and Andy Bashir. Most party chieftains didn't have Kamala Harris as their number one choice. But in the party of DEI, you can't skip a black woman. The optics would have been terrible.
She wasn't black.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So who is running it? Who are the names?
Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book basically grifting off his relationship with the Bidens. I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all this. Please give me credit but these are the people who ran our country for the last 4 years.
So let's go through each name for all of the audience. Not everybody is as tuned in with who's who in the political world.
as a general overview, these are the people who made a living off of their connection with Biden. It's like they were leeching off the Biden name for decades, and all of them realized that they would never work for another president, so they had to ride the gravy train all the way through, you know? Like, ride it to the very end. And that's why all of them refused to concede the truth, which is that Biden is unfit. And he would have been comatose by the time he was 86.
Who's the first name you mentioned?
Steve Ricchetti, the same guy who put his own kid at the Treasury.
Who is he? What's his position?
His most senior White House senior advisor. Like, all of them are White House counselor or White House senior advisor. And they are the gatekeepers of the president.
Who's the next name?
Mike Donnellan, the same guy who's feeding, I'm just going to say it like it is, feeding Biden fake numbers, telling him that he would win, he would beat Trump. Like, are you, like, seriously, are you kidding me? And the truth of the matter is, by the time Biden was going to drop out, he was on track to lose the Electoral College by 400 votes. Trump was on track to get 400 Electoral College votes. Not a typo. I'm not misspeaking. 400 electoral votes by the time he dropped out. And Mike Donnellan, his pollster, whom he, they go back decades. By the way, the major qualification for all these folks is that they know Biden really well. These aren't like PhDs or like rocket scientists or anything like that. It's just because of loyalty. And they've stayed with him for a number of years. So Mike Donnellan, Nancy Pelosi actually called him out. And she said, show me the numbers, Mike. Like, show me where you're getting these numbers that show that Biden can still beat Trump. And Donnellan wasn't able to deliver. No such numbers exist.
Who's the next name?
Who did I say? Anita Dunn. I actually have a soft spot for Anita Dunn because she got iced out of the Biden circle in July, August of this past year because she dared to say, maybe it's a good idea for the president to shy away from his convicted felon of a son because the optics aren't great.
Why do you have a soft spot for somebody who's running the country in the shadows to the ground?
Because she dared to speak up. She's the only one who did. She's the only one who dared to utter criticism.
But we went 4 years.
I know, but she's the only one who did anything a little bit different, you know? And she got exiled. She got kicked out of the White House.
When?
So she's July. So she got booted out. And then not only her husband got booted out. Her husband, Bob Bauer, was Biden's personal attorney. So after Anita, so I should also mention that after the debate, Hunter basically commandeered the White House. He sat in on all the White House top-level meetings. You had a former cocaine addict sitting in on the most sensitive meetings of the most consequential and important government in world history. Does that sit right with you?
No.
Without security clearance, mind you. No security clearance.
Hold up. So Biden had his son, Hunter. Now, for some of you who have been clicked in and followed that whole Hunter Biden thing and all of that, I mean, there are websites out there that has the content of that laptop. I mean, that dude was a freak, and he was also a drug addict, big time, and he was doing a lot of other things as well. But he was just running up in there, sitting down in meetings. Like she said, I got to reiterate this because I want people to understand this. All these people screaming and hollering about Doge and how they get access to things and do they have clearance and all this other stuff. Here you got a whole drug addict, sex addict who doesn't even have clearance sitting in on proprietary meetings, according to her. And that's okay. But this is what was going on. But anyway, let her finish cooking.
That's who was basically running the show. So Hunter basically battened down the hatches after the debate to make sure that his father would only receive intel that he pre-approved. And so Anita Dunn got exiled around this time, along with her husband. Her husband was playing Trump in the debate prep. Ron Klain was disgraced after the debate blew up. And then Jeff Zients, the person who's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, the chief of staff. I should mention that the weekend that Biden made the decision to drop out, he only told 2 people in that circle, and that's that's Steve Ricchetti and Mike. He didn't tell Anita because I was on a call with Anita that morning and she had no idea it was going to happen. It completely caught her off guard. So by that time, they were already easing her out of the circle.
Is there any? Did we cover all the names?
Did we? Jill Biden?
Jill Biden.
She was like president. She was president. I was with Joe and Jill the night of the debate. I was at their VIP debate watch party. I slept all the way to Atlanta, Georgia for that to show my support. Oh my gosh, Sean, you wouldn't believe it. So that night, I have the pictures too. I was with Joe, and so Jill takes Joe by the hand. The names are so similar. I'm sorry. Jill takes Joe by the hand on stage, and she's like, Joe, you knew all the facts. You answered all the questions. And you know that hand gesture that she does. And I'm thinking, you're treating him like a first grader. You know, like just because he, you know, like you shouldn't applaud him for doing the basics. And you could just tell that she was fighting for dear life to hold on to the vestige of power. And just a few days later, she was on the cover of Vogue. So the whole thing was a Jill Biden show. She was not as authentic as Joe, I want to say. I think as Joe got older, maybe you think I'm naive in saying this, but I'm not even sure if he remembers all of the corruption that he engaged in.
It doesn't surprise me.
Like, I don't think he had a full understanding what was going on.
I don't think anybody would argue that.
No matter where you're watching.
This stuff is crazy, man. And see, now some of y'all now understand with you remember when Obama got out there, because like she said, Obama, he saw this is my legacy on stake on point right now. I gotta make sure whoever gets up there, they win. And so he was so desperate to make sure that his legacy stays on tap or whatever. You remember he got out there, black man, and he was telling us, talking about, the reason why you guys ain't voting for Kamala is because, you a misogynist. You remember all of that? And then everybody followed suit, all the minions and all of that. They were wagging their fingers at us, talking about, yeah, that's right. These black men, straight black men, you guys are misogynistic. Roland Martin was saying this. Thick neck self. But anyway, I'm sorry. He just gets under I just can't stand that dude. Roland Martin was out here along with others that were constantly saying that we were misogynistic. We don't want to see a woman at all in any kind of position, trying to act like we were a bunch of cavemen or something like that, and people went along with it. The 92% went along with it, and all the simps, they went along with it, kept repeating it over and over again, not realizing that it was just all was stemming from Obama and all that, because he just wanted to keep his legacy, and he didn't even care about the impact that he was making on black men. And I'm saying specifically straight black men, because we weren't falling for that. And, it just, anyway, that's just, I wanted to show that to you because I just thought that was really something. And, when I first heard about this woman, I was like, wait, man, she just switched up real quick. She came out real quick. But then I remembered, I said, this is not uncommon. I've seen people do this all the time. I mean, people you would least expect, man, as soon as the administration is over, all of a sudden now these people will be coming out of the woodwork saying, let me tell you something. They'll put it in a book. They'll put it in an interview or whatever. And so, yeah, it's coming out and it's going to continue to come out. I think the era of Obama, his legacy and all that, I think it's pretty much done. I think it's cooked. I just think it's over, and it's just going to be really interesting to see, how this all plays out as we pivot to our next thing here. Let me show y'all something here. This is something I alluded to over on our community page here. I don't think many people know about this, but right now there's a lot of noise being made regarding Doge, and we're going to talk more about that in a moment, and some thoughts on that, some of the things that are coming out on that. Doge, this is the department that's, I guess, somewhat headed up by Elon Musk and some other people or whatever, and they're going in and they're just with a wrecking ball going through all these different departments and basically just scratching a lot of stuff out. I can completely understand why he was chosen. And I mentioned before, I mean, this is a guy that went to Twitter, and once he bought Twitter, he cut 80% of the staff because he looked at the staff and was like, we don't need all this stuff. I can run this company effectively, make it profitable with less people. And he had no problems in going there and slicing it up. And people were laughing at first saying, oh, look at it, Doge right now, they're not doing nothing. They're not right now, they're doing quite well. They're on the incline right now, from what I understand. And so this is a man that clearly, regardless of what you may feel or think about him on a personal level, when it comes to making decisions like this, hard decisions like this, he is definitely one that has no problem at all and doesn't have any second thought about it. And here's the thing I want people to understand too. This is the era that we're in right now. See, what we're seeing, all this screaming and hollering that we're hearing right now that are coming from federal employees, what it is that they're not used to that. And see, in the external, outside of the government space, in the commercial space, people are used to this all the time. In other words, you can get hired by a job today and get fired tomorrow because all of a sudden they just discovered some AI tool that can do your job and they don't think nothing of it. But if you've ever worked within government, if you get a contract with government, you work in government, it's not easy to fire people, and I've covered this before. There's a whole process that they have to go through to fire somebody. And usually what they end up doing is just pushing someone to another department. I've seen this as someone who was a contractor for the government many years ago. I saw it and witnessed it firsthand. There was a lot of people I thought should have been out of there, and listening to the employees, they were saying themselves that these jokers should have been out of here. And what they would do, they said we would just push them to a different department. They did this all the time. And so these different, and so federal employees, they're not used to this. I got a video I'm gonna play in a moment here. It's gonna tell you just how old their software is. It made me feel old when they told me what kind of software they're using in the State Department. So those of you who are familiar with software or programming, you gonna wanna hang on because that video is coming up on what they're using. But I just wanted to mention this first, and then I'll play the video. This was a, let's go back here. This is a post I did. I don't know if y'all caught this one or not here. I was saying this is what I said. I'm so tired of seeing this stuff. I don't know about y'all on my timeline, be it Instagram or whatever, or YouTube or whatever. I'm so tired of seeing these 92% type folks out here constantly talking down, berating black folks and all of that, and trying to scare the heck out of people, for, y'all better be careful out there, because if you go step out the door and, they're going to come and take you now. I know they're out here right now. What they're trying to do is they're, with Doge and all that, they're going to come and they're going to take your information. They're going to run with it. And immigration, they're going to come and snatch up black people and take you somewhere. No, all this scare tactic stuff, I'm just so tired of it. And like I said in the post, I said, don't get me started with those that are trying to blend the Bible with this stuff as well. But when I listen to these people, it's just the sun never shines in their imagination. There is no sun in their imagination, in their minds at all. It's always negative, 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 death and destruction, death to America. They say death to America more than Al-Qaeda did. I'm serious. Some of these folks, that's all they live for. All the time. And I'm not sitting up here and saying you got to wave the American flag and kiss the American flag and all that stuff. I'm not saying that, but daggone it, we still here. Why would someone want the house that you live in to burn up? And then you go and ask them, well, how, you got an escape plan? Well, yeah, I got an escape plan. Is one day I'm going to look up at the sky and I'm going to see, oh man, he going to part the sky. We going to just go up. Meanwhile, the whole room of flame, and you sit up there like, nigga, really? That's your escape plan? Here, I was cheering for you. Now, I come to find out you ain't even got no escape plan. That's your escape plan. One day the ship's going to come and they're going to take us away. You know, that kind of stuff. So my opinion is this. Basically, listen, we here, make the most of it. There's all kinds of roads and side roads you can take to live a wonderful life, you know. But anyway, so y'all can look at that when you want to. And like I said, and many of them are all part of some sorority. Like this woman here, her sorority is Bitter Phi Butch. Okay. Bitter Phi Butch. And here you got the family, black family, they trying to get on the road of free thinkers. And they trying to get there, but you know, they turn on YouTube and this is what they get hit with all the time. It's this kind of foolishness. Like I tell people all the time, protect your peace, okay? Protect your peace. Stop listening to these people that are out here screaming and hollering. I caught a little bit of Roland Martin. He's out here cussing folk out, cussing people out. Don't you realize what they getting ready to do to y'all? You know, all this stuff. And people are like, yeah, you're right. Say, wow. Anyway, let's go. So what I was getting at is what Doge is doing. It's not anything new. In fact, back in 1993, again, you know, a lot of people got short memories here, but back in 1993, you know, Al Gore, you know, he was the vice president under Bill Clinton. He had a department that he was heading. It was called the National Partnership for Reinventing Government. Okay, so let's go ahead and read it real quick here. The initiative aimed to streamline processes, cut bureaucracy with a focus of overhead costs beyond issues addressable by statute, and implement innovative solutions. NPR, again, that's the National Partnership for Reinventing Government. That's not the radio, you know, program. All right, radio station or whatever, was active until 1998. During its 5 years, it catalyzed, how am I saying it right? Catalyzed significant changes in the way the federal government operates, including the elimination of over 100 programs, the elimination of, get this, over 250,000 federal jobs. Wow, that's a lot of people that lost their jobs. So I guess that was okay then. The consolidation of over 800 agencies. So again, you got to have some perspective here before you lose your brain here, you know, some of these people out here. And the transfer of institutional knowledge to contractors. NPR introduced the use of performance measurements and customer satisfaction surveys and encouraged the use of technology, including the internet. Wait a minute, they weren't even on the internet then? This is how far behind their technology was. NPR is recognized as a success and has had a lasting impact, according to government officials who worked on or were influenced by it under the Clinton and George W. Bush administrations. So what Elon is doing right now, it's not new. This is not like some brand new, like, oh my God, what is he doing? Things are out of order and all that. No, these Democrats had no problem when Al Gore was doing this same thing and wanted to modernize it by telling them to get on the internet. It was no problem then, but now all of a sudden there's a problem. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you right quick here. Anyway, let's move right along here. Did y'all catch this video here? This is, do I play this before? Oh, you Lord. Yeah, let me play this and then I'll show y'all the video. Y'all catch Maxine Waters? Maxine Waters, did y'all catch this woman? This is Maxine Waters. She was, I believe, in front of some department. I don't know if it was Department of Education or something like that, which, by the way, what Trump is saying as far as shutting down the Department of Education. What he is proposing is to shut it down, and all the monies that would go to the Department of Education will now be rerouted back to the states. So I don't see why that's a problem there. Let's see, Maxine Waters. Hold on. I want y'all to take a look at this video here. This is Maxine Waters today, or recently. She was in front of, the Department of Education. I want you all to pay close attention to how she's talking to this dude. This is a security guard that was in front of the building, and they're demanding to come in because they are demanding to talk to the secretary, the Department of Education secretary. But I want you to pay attention to how she's talking to this man here. Take a listen here.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it.
So this woman here, now all of a sudden ID is important. Now all of a sudden ID is important. This is the same people that when people are saying, hey, listen, you need to show an ID before you go and vote. Because we want to make sure that there ain't people crossing over the border or coming or in this country illegally taking part of our elections. And so what black folks did, I'm giving you another history lesson. This argument started way back some time ago. This is like going back even in the 90s, I think, that what black folks did back then was that when this whole immigration thing was becoming a hot issue once again in this country, there was measurable amount of people who were not supposed to be in this country legally, and they were going in and they were voting. All right. And so what was happening was people said, nah, we got to set a precedent here. What we need to do is we're going to start proposing that if you're going to vote, you got to make sure you show some kind of ID proving that you are a citizen. And so that makes sense, right? You show an ID if you want to drink, you want to go into the bar somewhere. You show an ID when you're at the grocery store, you want to buy some alcohol. You want to show the ID, you trying to get into the club. You show an ID, when you need to, when you're at the bank, right? It makes sense then if you're going to vote, you show your ID, but they didn't like that. So what did the Democrats do? The first thing they did was they sent their first line of defense, and that was black folks. And the argument that they were sent out with was to tell people to try to relate it to poll tax. Try to relate it to what y'all went through back in the 50s and the 40s and all of that. You remember when they had they were trying to dissuade black people from voting and by telling them they had to take all these long tests and they had to pay money and all this stuff. Well, it's just like the illegals when they come in. It's the same thing. And it's racist. It's racist, I tell you. It's racist to ask for something. And a lot of black folks went right along with it. That's right. They shouldn't ask for no ID. Why they asking for an ID? Listen, things like this, when I tell you I remember the details of this, I remember all of this stuff. And so now all of a sudden, fast all the way forward, now all of a sudden she concerned about ID now. Show them your ID. Tell them about it. Now look up when I'm talking to you and all this other stuff. You don't talk to people like that. That dude, he got more strength than I did because I would, See, some of y'all folks, y'all still in, that's our auntie. She ain't my auntie. When you call government officials, you refer to them as members of your family, you already lost. Oh, that's our Uncle Joe. Black folks out here calling Joe Biden Uncle Joe. Calling Kamala Harris auntie. You don't need anybody that refers to government officials as members of your family. You don't need to be talking. Don't get in my. Don't even talk to me about politics. Don't. Just go. This ain't for you. This platform ain't for you. Just keep it right on moving. Because you ain't serious. You think these businesses like Apple and OpenAI and all that, when they sit down and like, when we gonna talk to Uncle Joe? When we gonna talk to Auntie? So they don't be calling nobody no uncle and auntie, or the Jews when they get together and they say, well, we gonna talk to Uncle Joe. They ain't nobody. Who the only people that do it? Well, I'll let you answer that question. Anyway, so that's her mess. But anyway, here's a video that I want to share with you too. This is, they sat down, someone actually sat down with the guy that's over the Department of the Treasury to get to the bottom of what exactly is going on, because Doge, and again, after this video, we're going to dive into this whole Doge thing that's going on here. Okay, we'll do it very briefly. I'm going to hit all the main points. Doge, what a lot of people were, again, there was more fear stuff that was going on. They were out here saying that they're going in there and they're digging up people's social security numbers and they're accessing this and that or whatever. And so black folks, you better be very afraid because you got these racists out here and they're taking all your information and all this other stuff. Well, anyway, someone from the media sat down. This is from Bloomberg. They went and actually sat down with Scott Bessent. Okay, this is the guy that's over the Treasury Department. And I want you to take a listen to this. It's a very short interview. It's about 4 minutes long. And he squashes all of this scare tactic stuff. I saw someone post a video. They were talking about they just accessing everything and they're getting all of our information and all that stuff. And so he's going to squash all this. See, that's why, like I said, again, we get right to the facts. We want to get right to the root. So let's take a listen here.
I'm here with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Washington. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining me.
So good to see you.
Mr. Secretary, we are inside the cash room at the Treasury Department. It is almost impossible to overstate how important the work that is done in this building is to the U.S. financial system. Yet right now, there is widespread concern about the Doge team's access to sensitive payment systems. Are you worried at all that that access and that tinkering of the payment systems could affect the Treasuries market or cause any disruption?
Good. Well, Saleha, thank you for asking me about that because there's a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, when you say the Doge team, these are Treasury employees. It is 2 Treasury employees, one of whom I personally interviewed in his final round. There is no tinkering with the system. They are on read-only. They are looking. They can make no changes. It is an operational program to suggest improvement. So we make 1.3 billion payments a year. And this is 2 employees who are working with a group of long-standing employees.
The letter that the Treasury Department sent earlier this week talked about how the team currently does not have access to change the system. Have they at any point this year had the ability to make changes?
Absolutely not. This is no different than you would have at a private company. And by the way, the ability to change the system sits over at the Federal Reserve. Oop. So it doesn't even lie in this building. So they could make suggestions on how to change the system, but we don't even run the system.
And if they ask for, if they request the ability to change the system, would you grant that?
No, again, they have no ability to change the system. I have no ability to grant that change. That they can make suggestions, then it would go to the Federal Reserve, and just like any large ERP system, there would be tests, there would be this, there would be that, and then the Fed will determine whether these changes are robust or not.
As the Secretary of Treasury, you also oversee the IRS. Do you know what kind of access the team has to IRS data or individual taxpayer data?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, too, because, look, the IRS, the privacy issue is one of the biggest issues. And over the past 4 years, we've seen a lot of leaks out of there. The IRS systems are quite poor. When I started in college in 1980, I learned the program in COBOL. I think there are 12 different systems at the IRS that still run on COBOL. But
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Did you hear what he just said? Now, if you don't have any experience in programming, you ain't gonna really understand what the weight of what he just said. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. He said that there are 12 different systems that they are still using. And they are operating with cobalt. Cobalt, do you understand how old that is? Okay, let me give you an idea how old cobalt is. Cobalt is, I want to say, almost before Windows 3.1. Not 95, not Windows 95, before that, before Windows. I'm trying to break it down for people who don't have any kind of understanding about, programming or whatever. Cobalt is black screen, okay, a monitor. They used to call them dumb terminals or whatever. A monitor, okay, floppy disk. Okay, y'all, some of y'all older ones, you know what I'm talking about. It's in them days. Wang, exactly. Exactly. This is going back, way back. Now, do you want to know why a lot of these state or federal systems are still using a lot of these old systems like this? It's because, like he said, when I started back in the 80s. So this dude has been in government since the 80s. Since the 80s. Okay? So when you're dealing with people who've been in that system for that long, they are going to be reluctant to any kind of change. They don't want to change anything. Someone may come in with an idea. Hey, listen, I heard you going in today. Hey, did you hear they got something called Windows 3.1? They got something called Windows 3.1. You ever heard of it? And this is in 2025. Oh, no. That's too fast for me. See, you getting ahead of me. I'm trying to tell you. When I contracted with CDC, I'm trying to tell you, them folks, they were very adamant to keep their stuff old. They didn't want to change nothing. And I'm talking folks that have been there 30 years, 40 years plus. They weren't changing nothing. So I can't even imagine what it's like in DC. It's full of people that are like that. So that's why, yeah, they operate on these old systems. So can you imagine someone like Elon Musk, someone coming in like that, seeing that? What do you think they're going to suggest? So, because I'm telling you where they're already going. They're trying to put everything on AI. So you go from COBOL to AI, these folks ain't going to know what to do. The people that are there right now, if you make that big of a transition like that with your systems, with your networks, you got to fire these folks because they're not going to be able to transition like that. Jesus. Anyway, let me finish. Let them finish here.
As of now, there is no engagement at the IRS.
And if they request that access, would you sign off on that request?
They haven't, so we'll take that when it comes to it. I think there is a lot to do there, but the president was elected with a big agenda, and to the extent that getting the IRS in better shape is part of that, sure. Because look, with the IRS, what am I concerned about? I am concerned about collections. I'm concerned about privacy. And I'm concerned that the system is robust.
But do you
and customer service.
But do you think that if they ask for access, that is something you would consider signing off on?
There are a lot of things I would consider, but look, we're in the middle of the tax filing season right now. We even, with the government buyouts that expire at midnight tonight, we have been mandated that the IRS customer-facing employees, that they're not eligible for that until May 15th. So I don't imagine anything's going to go on at the IRS until then or beyond.
Okay, so there you go. So you heard straight from the horse's mouth there. For now, at least, no, this team that Elon Musk brought in, they didn't have any kind of access at all to go in there and start scraping people's stuff and making changes to your Social Security checks and all that stuff. So whoever's out there saying that kind of stuff, no, it's not true, at least according to the source here. And it's just no, that's not what's happening at all. And that's why I say it goes back to what I was saying earlier, these scare tactics that people are putting out here, trying to scare people into this. But no, what is happening right now, I told y'all this, and I'm gonna keep on saying this. It's just in the government, particularly in the United States. We are, in the middle of a tech revolution right now that's fueled by AI, artificial intelligence. And the only sector that hasn't really been touched by that is really federal government, and state governments probably to a certain extent too. And because things are moving literally so fast right now, every week I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna learn this. And then the moment I sit down and try to learn something, they're like, oh no, we just dropped this. So I'm like, okay, let me move on. This is all in 1 week. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And so at this point, so things are moving so fast. This government, our government, the government system itself, the goal is to move it over to an AI-based system, using blockchain and all that other stuff. They're going to incorporate all this stuff. So it's not when, it's not if, it's when. It is going to happen. We are nowhere in the world we're going to be moving forward operating in COBOL. That's insane. That's not going to happen. And what is going to happen is a lot of these people are going to end up losing their jobs because they don't have this mindset. You know what I mean? Those of us in the private sector, we understand these things. We understand that, hey, listen, you better stay up on this technology, man, because if you don't stay up on it, you're going to find yourself unemployed, or you better create your own business. You know what I mean? You better create your own stuff. And so, because this stuff is moving fast. But people who work for like those positions in the bureaucracies of federal government or state government, they're not ready for this kind of stuff. They're not, and so rude awakening is here for sure. Anyway, let's move on here. Speaking of this whole Doge team, I'll just try to summarize my thoughts on it real quick here. And then we'll get to this article talking about what was discovered. One of them is like a racist or whatever. So in a nutshell, here's my view when it comes to government. I told you, I don't trust it. I don't care if it's a Democrat at the helm or Republican in the helm. I don't care. I don't pick sides. I've stopped that game a long time ago. Okay. And I certainly do not look to government to be any kind of moral compass at all for my own personal life. So I don't care. I don't look to government when it comes to stuff like that. But there are things that do take place that if it's going to benefit my own personal life, then I'm going to promote it. I'm be like, hey, I'm with it. So when I hear Trump, for example, saying that, listen, we're going to audit the IRS, which they are going to do. We're going to start exposing all of these databases that show where all this money is going to, all these millions and billions of dollars that's going to all these different pet projects and stuff like that. I'm for that. I would be crazy not to. If Biden did that, I would be for that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem. Whoever's at the helm, if you're going to do something like that, that comes into my own lane of things that are important to me, I'm with that. It doesn't mean I'm backing the whole party. It just means that, okay, that box is ticked and I'm with that. So sitting back and watching Elon Musk and, him and, and there's other tech partners too that I think are working in this as well, coming in and doing what they're doing right now, like a wrecking ball. It's really interesting to sit back and to watch, because the people that are loud and are screaming are the ones that, we all know that they were probably benefiting the most on how things were set up, the status quo. But technology, they're getting a rude awakening. People like Maxine Waters, they're not going to be able to swim in these waters. No pun intended, her last name is Waters. She's not going to be able to swim in these kind of waters that are out here right now when it comes to technology. And you can cry and do all that stuff you want, but it is what it is. I'll show you maybe later on if I get to it. I'll show you the websites that are out here. In fact, I'll just give you two right now that you can check on your own time. If you're interested in wanting to know where, how money is being spent and all this other stuff. I think it's a very interesting, any person that's a citizen of the United States, you should be looking at these things anyway. USspending.gov is one page that you can go to. Again, it's USspending.gov. You can type in pretty much any name or organization, or if you have the EIN number, you can type that in there and it will pull it up and it'll show you exactly if they received any kind of federal funding or anything like that. And that's a good source here. Organizations like this one here, Divas Adult Sex Toy Store, doing business as Divas Enterprises. In 2020, guess how much money they received? It was around close to $14,000 of federal money. And wait, it gets better. And I said, let me look them up, because I got to look them up. Well, they're in Houston, Texas. Let's take a trip down to Houston, Texas, and let's take a look at the. Oh, man. Oh, no. This is Diva's Sex Toy Shop. Federal money, your tax dollars went here. Everybody get money. Everybody get money. She probably keeps all the stuff back here in the shed back here. So it's all dank and everything in there. And folk getting this stuff, poking and prodding this stuff. And you probably got dirt and mud. Never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But this is the kind of stuff that like, again, millions and millions of dollars was floating to these kind of so-called organizations. And how is that benefiting anyway, someone can make an argument for that. Anyway, I won't get ahead of myself there. But anyway, here's another website that has just recently popped up here. This is called Data Republican. You can, type in, it's right here, charity graph. I was using some of this. And if you go back to the short that I did earlier this week and the screenshots that I posted on the community page, I kind of walk you through some of the stuff that I was finding on there. And this is another page that will graph it all out and show you how they are running all these millions of dollars through these washing machines, literally. And by the time it gets to the organization, they scrape off all the facts that it actually came from taxpayer money. It's amazing to sit back and see this in graphical form. So again, the name of this website is called Data Republican, and this site was got an attack a few days ago, and they just got it back up because, again, the truth is all coming out. It probably was a PPP one day, and that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, a lot of people were getting all kind of money, and then they turn around, and a lot of those people, those loans were forgiven, the PPP loans. But anyway, so let me get to this article here. So I'm all for it. If you're going to go after this money and expose these people for who they are, even if they're exposing themselves, because make no mistake about it, yes, there are Democrats, there are liberals or whatever that was benefiting a great deal from U.S. aid or whatever, but let's not fool ourselves. There's a lot of Republicans too that were benefiting from this stuff as well. Okay, so let's keep it a full buck. And from what I understand, even SpaceX was getting some money from U.S. aid. So let's keep that a full buck, okay? But like I also said too, is SpaceX is one thing. Diva's sex toy shop is another thing, okay? But why is it that this money has to go through all these different organizations to get washed off of any kind of taxpayer ID in order to get to the destination? Why can't it just go straight to the destination? You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of shady stuff that needs to be exposed. And if they want to do it, the system want to do this kind of stuff, I'm all for it. So I'm with that. But recently, they were going to, people ain't going to like it. They were going to try to do some playing around here. Elon Musk top Doge staffer Marco Ellis quits over racist social media posts. And let's just read it real quick here. One of Elon Musk's trusted Doge staffers had resigned from his position after his links to racist social media posts promoting eugenics was unearthed. Oh my goodness. Marco Elez was one of the 2 employees at the Department of Government Efficiency granted access to $5 trillion in the Treasury payment systems. Okay, well, we cleared that up already. They weren't accessing money or anything like that, okay? But by Thursday afternoon, a 25-year-old trusted Musk ally had resigned after the Wall Street Journal probed his links to the since deleted social media account. Let's go on. According to the publication, the X account advocated repealing the Civil Rights Act. Oh man, that's kind of bad. And backed a eugenic immigration policy. Let's take a look at what he actually was saying here, according to these quotations. Other posts allegedly read, you could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity. Well, I mean, I don't see a problem with that personally. I mean, that's someone's personal belief. I mean, I don't have a problem with that one. Then he says, and normalize Indian hate. Well, that's a kind of an issue there. That's a red flag. That's a little red flag there. Okay. Anyway, another allegedly read, just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. Well, he's telling you what his belief system is, right? He's racist. He's an acknowledged racist. The account also weighed in on the Israel-Palestine crisis, Palestine crisis, with a post that read, I would not mind if all of Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth. Well, I guess he's a equal opportunist there when it comes to that. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said that Elez has resigned from his role. And then they go on and talk about how he got a science degree, computer science degree at Rutgers, and went on to work at SpaceX, Starlink, and X with a focus predominantly in AI. That's him right there. And let's move on here. Let's see what else did he say here. Okay, let me see. Want to jump. The 2 employees are Musk disciples, Tom Krause and Ellis. Virginia Congressman Don Bayer described Ellis' resignation as a scandal. Elon Musk gave a self-described racist and eugenicist access to a system that controls all financial payments from the U.S. Treasury, he said. That system also contains personal information, including Social Security info of every American. And then it goes on a little bit on. Anyway, there's more to the story here. And then I'll just give you some thoughts on this. Okay, my personal thoughts on this. Since then, Elon Musk has basically said he did a post. I don't know if I can find it or not. Hold on. That was later backed by the vice president. And then Trump himself backed it. Let me see if I can pull it up here right quick here. And then, like I said, I'll share with you my quick thoughts on all of that. Okay, here it is. Just getting it right here. Here we go. And here it is. Okay, here it is. Sorry. It's right here. There we go. All right. So this is what Elon Musk, he posted. He says, he will be brought back. To err is human, to forgive divine. And that was in response to what J.D. Vance, Vice President Vance, said. He said, here are my views. He said, I obviously disagree with some of Ellis' posts, but I don't think stupid social media activity should ruin a kid's life. And we shouldn't reward journalists who try to destroy people ever. So I say bring him back. If he's a bad dude or a terrible member of the team, fire him for that. Okay, so that's his views on that. And I already shared with you what, Trump later on in a press conference, he basically, addressing a numbers of things. One of the things he was asked about that, he said, well, the vice president don't have a problem with it, and I don't have a problem with it. Now, let me share with you my thoughts on this, okay? Number one, when it comes to, someone that's racist or whatever, someone that's an acknowledged racist, and he's saying he would roll back the Civil Rights Act or whatever. Listen, part of me would say I agree with him. They should roll it back. And I've explained that what the Civil Rights Act didn't really do anything for us that much when you think about it. But I want you to hear me out before you jump on your emotional wagon here. Okay? This guy straight up, we could tell what angle he's coming from. All right? If I was a hiring manager and I was privy to these viewpoints, I would not hire him, period. Okay? There wouldn't be no, I wouldn't hire him. Not me personally. If I was privy to that. Do you understand what I'm saying? But now the information is out. Now they're handling the way they gonna handle it. Okay. They're like, well, we don't see a problem with that. But here's the thing. If this man came out here and said that I believe that Hitler should have did whatever, he didn't finish the job or said something crazy like that, I guarantee you he would not be part of the team. So let's keep that a full buck. Okay. Let's keep that a full buck. This dude can say anything about any other group, but he let him say something about that. All of a sudden now he ain't got no, there's no, we ain't really got, now all of a sudden it's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is when it comes to that, and it's indefensible. There's nothing at all to defend on that. Okay. So let me just say that, number one. But here's the thing. Here's what I will say. I'm trying to give you a full context view here. All right. Ultimately, you do what you want, but I always want people, when anytime things like this come up, I want you to look at it from a holistic view, look at the facts, and then ultimately you make up your mind on what you want to think and want to believe on it. Okay. Is that a deal? So that's what I'm doing with this. I'm not making any excuses for this. I already told you what I would do if I was privy to that kind of information from somebody, because that tells me right there that, yeah, you probably going to try to screw me over. You know what I mean? So no, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that at all. All right. Not someone like that on my team. I don't care what his skill set is. I just wouldn't. Okay. Just plain and simple. But here's the thing. If you're going to play that game, if you're going to use that measuring stick, if you're going to bring that measuring stick out and measure people, you want to start measuring your employees like that. I'm talking about the people that are out here that are saying, see, he's a racist. That means Elon Musk is a racist. That means that Trump is a racist. That means all of them are racist. Okay, if you want to believe that based off of some old social media tweets, based off of what their private belief systems are or whatever, then you better make sure that you're playing that game all the way out. All right? You want to make sure you're playing it all the way out. You remember what I said earlier? When it comes to government, I do not, under no circumstances, look to government. I don't care if Republicans are leading it. I don't care if Democrats are leading it. I didn't vote for either, and I don't have any intentions on voting for either one ever. Okay? So I don't look to them for any kind of guidance when it comes, or to set some kind of standard when it comes to moral values, my own moral values. That standard begins in my house. Okay. That's where it begins. I don't look to them for that. All right. Now, why am I saying all this? Because if you're going to set that standard and say, we got to go after him because this guy is racist or whatever. Okay. Well, my standard, here's another one of my moral standards, and I'm sure many of you, there are numbers of you share this as well. I have some serious issues with LGBTQ. Okay. Now, what you choose to live and what you want to act out in your house and your bedroom, that's your choice. But I do have very serious problems when you are going after children with that. And the last administration had no problems promoting this lifestyle, promoting transgender. They had no problem promoting transgender lifestyle. They had no problem with that. And I'm not just talking about dusty men and wearing little tiny girl dresses. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what this particular gender identification, what they're known for. You want to know what they're known for? Well, I'm glad you asked, because see, it's about to get real now. Okay. And let me go ahead and pull this up on the screen. All right, let's go. So I'm just going to go through all these things. These are just some of the things I have bookmarked. Have you noticed that there are many cases that have been popping up over the years of these people who identify as transgender? They always got this proclivity to go after little children. They got this proclivity to just always go after little children. Here's a case right here. This is a whole cult called the Ziz cult, where they were going after, in this case, they were going after and murdering people. Here's another one here. A trans-identified male has been sentenced to 16 years in prison after being found guilty of the R word, 3 young boys. Here's another one here. A transgender sex offender has been jailed for punching, kicking, and stamping on a woman who walked past him. Oh, I'm just getting warmed up here, y'all. A trans-identified male has been convicted of the R word, a vulnerable woman, just weeks after being released from prison for the R word, a teen girl. Oh, let's continue. Okay, here's one here. Over half of transgender prisoners in Wisconsin are sex offenders. Did you hear that? Let me read that again. Over half of transgender prisoners in Wisconsin are sex offenders. And there's a report that's attached to that. I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm whizzing through this, but there's another report I'm gonna show you in a moment. Transgender women found guilty of the R word, 2 women while she was a man. Oh, let's going on. We're cooking now. A girl was kidnapped by a trans-identified man and subjected to 17 hours of assault. The judge specifically said that he used being dressed as a woman to lure her into a sense of safety. Let's keep going. A transgender convict who impregnated 2 female inmates in the women's prison in New Jersey has been mentoring other male inmates on how to secure transfer by claiming a trans identity. Now, this is a story. This is a study that was done in UC Irvine a few years ago. And I told you about Wisconsin already. But in this study here, this was University of California. They were focused on California prisons. And I'll just read to you the summary up at the top here. They said a 2009 study from the University of California, Irvine, found that transgender inmates were more likely to be sex offenders than the general male population. I think that's all I got there. Yeah. So I can go on and on and on. And what I didn't have was the what I thought I bookmarked it. I've shown you guys pictures of this agenda, this LGBTQ agenda, where they are promoting the children to get these sex reassignment surgeries. You know who's leading this argument? It's this 92%. It's black women. The Attorney General for New York. She told the state of New York, she said, don't you listen to what Trump is saying. Because Trump is saying, listen, we done with this. There ain't gonna be no federal dollars. We are done with this. We are outlawing these reassignment surgeries on children. Don't you dare don't you dare continue to promote this stuff on children. But you know what she said, Loretta, whatever her name is, you know what she said? No, y'all gonna continue to promote this stuff. That's what she said. And there's other black congresswomen and congressmen that are promoting this stuff. They're promoting this. In fact, I forgot to show y'all this. All these people that are screaming and hollering about DEI, right? And I've told you this and we've gone through that over and over again. Here you got BET. Oh, not BET, wow. Black Enterprise, sorry. Back in 2023, well, guess what? They did an article. Guess what the article says? Black people only comprise of 4% of DEI positions in the workplace. 4%. So that means all this screaming and yelling for about black folks, we gotta stand and defend DEI. We're gonna boycott. You get Jamal Bryant, we're gonna pray for 40 days and 40 nights or whatever it is, against Target and all this other stuff. He's not doing that for black people. This is what I'm trying to show people, this stuff. And all these black people think that this is all about black people. It's not. 96% of black people aren't even benefiting from DEI, which means that he is promoting his church to boycott on the behalf of LGBTQ. It has nothing to do with black folks. 4% of black folks only 4% benefit? 4%. All this talking, all this screaming and hollering for 4% of black folks. And this is coming from Black Enterprise. And you can read it for yourself. It's a pretty well-written article. They brought up some history and stuff, like I like it, to give you some perspective. But their conclusion is we ain't really benefiting from this thing. So why are all these 92%ers and people out here screaming and hollering for us to fight for it? They want us to fight for this thing when we're not even benefiting from it. So my point is this, is that, as this relates to, like I said, going back to Doge and all that, what I'm saying is, if you want to play the morality game when it comes to government, I already told you how I see government. You know what I mean? They're not my moral compass. I don't care what they do. Like I was getting ready to show y'all that too. Let me go back to my Twitter feed here. This is a list of convicted Republican pedophiles. This is a whole list here. Look at all these people. I ain't going to read through all of that. These are people that were Republicans that were convicted pedophiles. So like I said, again, if you think for one moment I'm sitting up here like, oh, it's the Republicans and I don't care about these folks. I don't look to them for some kind of moral guidance. However, if whoever's in power, whoever is ruling, if they are doing things that align with my own personal beliefs and concerns, I stand behind those things and those things only. Do you understand what I'm saying? But people have been so programmed and think that if you agree with one thing these people do, that makes you part of the party. I'm not. I'm for these people going through with a sledgehammer and tearing all this stuff up. But I'm also smart enough to know that, okay, with every system that goes down, there's another one that comes up. So my eyes are on that too. I understand the game with all of this stuff. I ain't getting caught up with that. But anyway, I think we spent enough time on that. But that's just my quick thoughts on that, as far as the Elon Musk thing and, there's a racist on there or whatever. Okay, well, that's wrong. And, we've already said what we said about that. But okay, well, what about Joe Biden? Okay, Joe Biden, who best friend was a KKK person. You had no problem with that? I mean, again, we can go with the whole morality thing all day and all night. But my advice to you is never look to the government for any kind of moral compass thing, because they're going to fail. All of them fail on that scale. And but what should be of a concern to you as a citizen are the things that align with your own personal concerns and beliefs, and you stand on that and that alone. You understand what I'm saying? And that's it. So anyway, let's move on here to the next thing here, what we're talking about. Just real quick, I'll just mention about what was it right here? This is right here. Did you hear about this? Speaking of which, like I said, again, I don't look to the government for any, they're not my moral compass here. Here, Trump, he made Paula White plastic face. Trump's faith advisor. They set up an office of faith or something like that, where it's going to focus on anytime Christianity is being attacked, they're going to probably put out a word or something like that. I don't know. Paula White, she's Trump's faith advisor. And she said, Christians must learn from Jews, not convert them. What did I say earlier when we were talking about TD Jakes? It all comes back to Judaism. It all comes back to Judaism, y'all. At the end of the day, it all comes back to Judaism. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Let's move on to the next story that I had there. We talked about Jake's faith advisor. Black National Anthem. Let's just talk about that real quick. The Black National Anthem. Let me ask you something real quick. As you know, the Super Bowl is this weekend. And traditionally what they have done for, I don't know how many years. I don't think it's been that long. But in recent years, they have done this thing where they have somebody up there singing the Black National Anthem. Let me ask y'all something. This is open call. Anybody can answer this. How many of y'all honestly can say that you know all the words to the Black National Anthem? I'll just give y'all a moment as I can continue on talking here. But how many of y'all actually out there know all the words to the Black National Anthem? And while you trying to think of it, and please do not post it in the community, in the comments or in the chat. Okay, anybody can look it up. I'm not asking you to do that. But how many of you honestly know that? The only time I can honestly say that I have had to, or have been in a place where I said the Black National Anthem, lift every voice, I would say that was anytime I went to like a HBCU graduation or something like that. That's it. Or a game. That's the only time I've said it. I don't know the words. I don't. I'm 54 years old. I don't know the words. And anytime when I'm in a place like that, which is rare, and they're singing it, it's the only people that up there singing it are people that are older than me. That's it. But I don't know it. And I would encourage you to look up the history of the Lift Every Voice song, the gentleman that's behind it. It's a very fascinating history. I would encourage you to do that. Very fascinating history, the guy and the different things he did and all this other stuff. The guy was actually, believe it or not, at one point was a Republican. He was a Republican. The gentleman that wrote that song, he was a Republican. He wrote the song and his brother composed the music. And they did a lot of other things as well. But yeah, it's very fascinating history. But as far as this, but he wrote the song when he was working with the NAACP. And, I just have to say it's not something that has, it may have meaning for people of a certain age, but it did not translate, to the future generations. And I don't see why it should, quite honestly. I don't. I do understand. I tend to lean on this is that if you want to call you, how many countries have you been to where there's two separate national anthems? You can't scream and holler that we need to be all treated as Americans, but you have two national anthems. You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't add up. It really doesn't. When you step back and think about it, it really doesn't add up. There aren't two national anthems in any country that I can think of. So you can't, on one hand, scream and holler that you want to be treated as equals, but then you want to have a national anthem. The only people that are pushing this and to be in the Super Bowl and all that is two groups of people. It's that older group of people who are still into that stuff. And then it's also people who want to use that as a way to try to force some kind of argument. Do not be surprised. Don't be surprised that if whoever is singing, what's her name, Ledesi? I think that's how you say her name. We actually saw her in concert one time. Don't be surprised if she's singing it that there's some boos in the audience in the Super Bowl. So don't be surprised, and then that becomes its own story and all that stuff. But I can't think of now one black person that even knows the words of this thing. So it's a certain group. It's the boule class of folks that are concerned about that. Nobody else will be singing that. No, it just ain't. It ain't a thing. It isn't. So you want to sing the national anthem, so be it. You don't want to sing it. That's up to you. Don't care. But it's straight up confusion to have two national anthems. It just is. But yet you want to be seen as we're just Americans, but we got two separate national anthems, because then you got the other groups. Okay, well, we got the Asian national anthem and then we got the Puerto Rican national, it never ends. So it doesn't make sense. And it's just too much to me. Anyway, let's keep on moving here. I told y'all we had a lot of stuff to dag on it. I just had this thing up here. This is Patti LaBelle's nephew. Even Patti LaBelle's nephew is like, y'all crazy. And this is it's Bile Holt. Hope I'm saying his name right here. He says, my aunt is the legendary singer Patti LaBelle. She performed the national anthem 4 different times at major national sporting events. Not one of those times did she ever sing the Black national anthem. Ooh. She always performed the Star Spangled Banner. Why? Because she was singing to every American, not just Black ones. She was using her beautifully powerful voice to bring us together, not tear us apart. Because way back then, the Democrats hadn't used race to divide us yet. There was only one national anthem, and it's united us all. So when the NFL allows a Black national anthem to be sung at the Super Bowl, they'll just be confirming that they are part of the deliberate and systematic division of our country. And he says, God bless America. And this is Patti LaBelle singing the Star Spangled Banner. So again, it's not something that, it's a certain demographic it's boule wannabes, and then it's the other people who just want to use it to try to start some mess or whatever. But in the real world on Main Street, nobody don't be caring about that. I don't know it, and I'll be afraid to even put my children on the spot and ask them, sing Lift Every Voice, because they would lift. Who? Was that a show? Anyway. Anyway, let's move on here. We'll see. We almost finished here. Kamala. Well, she was recently asked a question by mainstream media about the fires in LA. And I want you to hear her response. This is a recent one here. I'm going to let you figure it out, okay? We need some translators here. Let's see if we can figure out what she's saying here. This is recent, y'all. Listen.
As we think about the future, we must, as a society, as a country, invest in adaptation and resilience. And we have to understand these extreme weather occurrences are extreme, but they are increasingly less rare.
This is what someone said. This is what she says. As we think about the future, we must, as a society, as a country, invest in adaptation and resilience. And we have to understand these extreme weather occurrences are extreme, but they are increasingly less rare. What is she saying? What is she saying? What's she saying? Somebody please help me. What was she saying there? What was she saying? Someone please help me out. Please someone help me. I'm trying. Someone the other day they left a comment. You just disrespecting her. You can't even get her name right and all that. I see what you are. I'm like, I'm sorry about the name thing, but I can't even understand what she be saying, y'all. What? Anyway, here's the last thing here. And for those that hung with me to the end, I guarantee you're not going to be disappointed. You want to make sure you hear this one here. Okay, we have been, our platform, but many, many others have done some way more work. This is a gentleman by the name of Dane Whittington. Dane Whittington. You want to search him. He's a YouTube platform. I believe he's still on YouTube. I mean, this dude been at this for years and years and years and years and years and years about geoengineering. And what that is chemtrailing. Now, many of y'all notice, if you've been following this platform, we've talked about from time to time. Many of you are aware of this. You look up at the sky and you see all these streaks and strikes and stuff all throughout the sky. And good and doggone well, when we were kids, we would look up at the sky and we never saw that kind of stuff. And these people try to tell you, well, what happens is when you get to a certain altitude, it's just that it gets cold and then all this other stuff. And it's like, no, that ain't it. No, that ain't it. We've never, every now and then, if you saw it, it would just dissipate and then it was gone, right? We're looking at stuff that stays up there for a very long time. There are times I have sat up there and watched these things spread out and cover the whole sky. I have seen clear blue skies, and all of a sudden these planes come and all of a sudden they start spraying this stuff. And I watched it expand, and we went from a clear blue sky day to a cloudy day. And I saw the origin of it. I saw this happening in New Jersey. When we were living in New Jersey, I saw this happening. It would happen a whole lot. And so, so anytime people brought up chemtrailing, they would say, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You crazy and all this other stuff. Well, come to find out, well, we've already known this. We weren't crazy at all. In fact, Washington, the White House, Office of Science and Technology Policy, the OSTP, it supported, they said, according to this, let me pull this up on the screen here. Let's go here. And I'm going to show you the diagram. By a cross-agency working group that included, and they name all the agencies here. Basically, they supported not only the study, but they also wanted including outdoor experimentation of it. What am I talking about here? Well, let's go to the diagram that they provided for us here. It's right here, y'all. This is straight from the government. What they wanted to do is they said that there's too much radiation, UV rays. They are what they're doing is that they are making it unhealthy for us. Please stay on. I know we've been on for a moment, but please stay on for this because there's a clip that I want you to hear because there's a woman that confronted a pilot. I want you to hear this. But this is confirmed, okay? This is what they're doing. They're saying that the radiation that's coming from the sun, it's damaging us. So what they're doing is, it's right here. Do you see that plane there? You see this right here? Oh, gee, what's coming out of that plane? That's interesting. Stratospheric aerosol injection. An approach where reflective aerosols like sulfate, alumina, or calcite would be released into the stratosphere to reflect a small proportion of incoming solar radiation. You see this? They're telling you, the government, they put this together. I ain't put this together. Yeah, Love said barium. Yep, that's another one. Cirrus cloud thinning, CCT, an approach focused on modifying the properties of high altitude clouds to increase outgoing thermal radiation. Here's another one. They're using ships now. Marine cloud brightening, MCB, an approach where ships would be used to spray particles like sea salt into low clouds above the oceans to enhance their ability to reflect sunlight back into space. Before I show this video here, I want to say a couple things here, and I want you to just listen to this. There's a couple things. One, I don't know if y'all have heard this or been aware of this. Do you remember it was about maybe a month ago? Someone can correct me. Maybe about a month ago or less. This was happening from Texas all the way to the East Coast. People were complaining about this weird and strange fog that was taking over the country. Oh, it was like in the beginning of January. I remember this. It was like between December, the last week of December, and January. Remember all that fog and stuff? And I remember seeing this and I was like, well, it's normally foggy during that time anyway. But people who live out there were saying, no, man, this is a little different. They said this stuff is a little different. Well, come to find out, people were getting sick because they were saying there was some particles in that fog, and now people are getting sick. There's another fog thing that's happening out in South Carolina on the coast. And they said, once again, someone actually did a test. They said the test results have come in. If I can find it, maybe I'll post it on our blog or whatever. Someone actually did a test, and they said the test came back and it had all these different particles in it, chemicals and aluminum and all that other stuff in it. They said people are getting violently sick. I want you to you can do a search on this on your own time. It's called Operation Sea Spray. I actually did talk about this. Do a search for this. I know we throw a lot of information on this broadcast here, but trust me, if you follow it, you will be much more informed. Do a search for Operation Sea Spray. This was an operation by the government, by the military some years ago. It was off the coast of, it was like at Oakland, in that area, in the Bay Area. They had ships where they were spraying fog into the Bay Area. It had different types of bacteria and stuff in there. And what they were trying to do, they said, we just want to see how many people get sick. And, because we're just preparing just in case if there's some kind of chemical attack or something like that, we'll know what to do. So our government is on record of already doing this kind of stuff. That's just the sea spray stuff. That's just the fog, okay? That's just that, okay? That's just something else. That had nothing to do with this kind of stuff here, what I was just talking about. Okay, so that's one. The second thing is I want to reemphasize this again and again and again and again. No, the sun is for you. The sun ain't putting no harmful rays out for you, okay? That is not the case. That is a lie. That is 100% a lie. You need the sunlight. You need it. You needed the sunlight. You need it. Your body needs it. We can spend all day, we can spend a whole week talking about all the many benefits of sunlight to your body. You need sunlight. These devils want to create this kind of stuff to block the sunlight out. You don't need to. You have civilizations that have lasted thousands, tens of thousands of years. They never had this issue. Now all of a sudden we got to block the sun. The only people that want to block the sun that I always knew of were vampires. We don't need that. They're vampires. We need the sun. So if you're out here, you're putting sunblock on, you don't. Now, if you have a sensitivity, if you get lighter skin and you tend to burn or whatever, then you just know you got to compensate for that. Just say, hey, listen, I just can't stay out too long, but you make sure you're behind out there getting some sunlight, okay? And stay away from these freaking LED lights. I know it's hard, but man, if there was a way we can get our hands on incandescent lights and sell them on Sombertree, we would absolutely do that. We're still trying to find people that there are places you can get it, but it's very difficult. But get your hands, if you can get your hands on some incandescent light bulbs, get your hands on some incandescent light bulbs, because I'm telling you, it will make a difference in how you think and your health. It does. Don't be sitting around all day with these. If anything, do some, if you have unfortunately, LED lights are the only things we have. Just don't have the whole house all lit up with LEDs. Just do it a little bit here and there or whatever. And I'm telling you, we try to get some candle lights up in here too, for real. I'm trying to get that, because again, that light, that frequency of light that's coming from natural light, like the sun, from candle, from fire, that kind of thing, those kind of thing, it harmonizes or synchronizes with your makeup. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? These LED lights, they're at such a high frequency, they mess up a lot of stuff that's going on in your body. They do. Over a long period of time, they do. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off in that, but my point is, these are devils and what they're doing. And no, you were not imagining anything. No, they were absolutely spraying stuff in the atmosphere. But the good thing is that I think RFK Jr., he has made it pretty clear that he said, listen, once they confirm me, that's going to be one of the first things that's going to go. Now, that's what he's saying. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I want to play for you, and this is the last thing for this evening. I want to play for you this audio that I was able to find here on Twitter of a lady who, she was on it. She basically heard about this. She moved her family out of the city and out into the country because she was trying to get away from all this spraying that was going on in heavily populated areas. So what she did was she moved out into the country, but she noticed that they were spraying out there too. And so what she did was she started tracking this plane and monitoring its flight pattern and noticing the spray that it was spraying and all that. But she also noticed she was taking soil samples and all of that and saw that, yeah, this pilot was absolutely spraying some stuff. And so anyway, so I'm trying to find this video right now here. If I can't find it here, I do have the link. I know I had the link here. Let me get it for you. It's amazing. How did I bookmark it and it ain't coming up? Okay, hold on for a second. We'll get it. We'll get it. Okay, I know where it is. Let me get it for you. And it's actually 18 minutes long, but this one here that I'm gonna show you, it's chopped down. I chopped it down. It's actually chopped down to something a lot shorter than that, okay? But I want you to hear this woman here and what she was saying here, okay? It's really not anything to see. It's really something to hear. But I'll put this I'll just put it on the screen, but I want you to, you can hear for yourself here. Not that. I really appreciate, shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us this evening. This was I told you we had a lot we was going to cover tonight. But anyway, let's take a listen. This is, it was chopped down to 3 minutes, but it's a much longer version of this, about 18 minutes long. But this hits the key points. Again, this is a lady who basically confronted one of the pilots who was out here spraying. And I want you to listen to the conversation.
Hi. Yes. Great. Thank you. Good to see you. I'm here. You're Tim, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No. I don't know a Tim.
Jody?
No, don't know. Well, I know a Jody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jody Fisher?
No, yeah, I know Jody Fisher.
You do? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then who are you?
I'm one of the other captains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, come on outside. Or not. Or just whatever. Are you free now?
No, I gotta reflare.
Okay, so I have paperwork for you that I want to give to you. So hang tight, I'll go get it. But then, we've been trying to reach Jody and you for a long time.
Okay.
And we are tired of you dumping heavy metals all over our county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the one to talk to about that.
No, but you are. But you're the one that's doing it. So I've been taking rain samples. I have over 20 samples. And every time you fly, we get high amounts of aluminum, barium, strontium, titanium, magnesium. So I want to know, are you aware of what you're doing? I know you think it's like to increase water supply for Turlock and Modesto, but it's not really happening.
Yeah, you can talk to them.
I've tried.
About that,
I've called them, and they're not calling me back. So we're now getting really involved, and now we're going to bring something legal against your company.
Okay, well, you can talk to them about that for
I know,
sure.
but I want you to know, though, like, we are real people underneath what you're doing. You spray right over our houses. We hear you. We know you. We see you. We're watching your planes and your patterns, okay?
Yeah,
it's twice today now. You did 2 flights. 2 3-hour flights.
It's public knowledge, yeah.
It's not really, though. That's the problem. So you have not properly notified our board of supervisors about this. Hi, are you the other pilot? Yes. Hi, what's your name?
Khaled.
Khaled?
Yes.
Okay, hi.
It's not we have people at home base that you can talk to about that stuff.
But they've not called back. So now we're getting to the point where we're getting our supervisors involved. So the supervisors of our county needs to be notified. They've not been notified. You've been doing this for 30 years. I know it's a long time. You guys are like, it's cool, it's easy. We're talking about all of the metals and the flares that you're using. So aluminum and zinc propel the silver iodide. You're spraying right over us all the time. And our plant life is suffering. They are now selling aluminum genetically modified seeds to grow food because our soil is so contaminated. Okay, so what you're spraying is not good for the environment. And it's not good for the people because there's an early onset dementia, there's Alzheimer's, things are starting to happen to people's health. And I really do believe there's a linkage to what we're breathing in the environment every day. When you guys spray us in November through April, it's your yearly contract. I'm aware of that too. So I just wanted to meet the pilots and say, where's Jody? I've called Jody, I've talked to, I think Leslie was the other one, Leslie Fisher? No, it's another Fisher.
Yeah,
Lisa?
probably his wife.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's their responsibility. That's not our responsibility.
I understand, yeah. But the money that you're receiving to do this is coming from, is it taxpayers that are paying for this?
That's not my department.
I want you to be aware. Do you have family?
Yeah, I have family.
I have family too. I have children. So we're outside and we hear your plane over us all the time. And I've been tracking this for a long time. And we have tried to get the supervisors involved and they're clueless. They were not informed. According to the California codes and law, they should have notified our supervisors because you're doing this to benefit TID. Okay? okay? But it's not. It's happening over, well, it might be, but it's happening over our area, okay? Sonora, Groveland, Coulterville. You're doing your little figure eight loops. My 20 rain samples will show you that on the days that you're spraying or releasing your flares, we have copious amounts of aluminum, magnesium. There's been some barium, strontium, but titanium's weird. Is titanium also in your flares? Okay, that's unique for me. So I want you to know that there are health impacts and impacts to the soil and the plant life, all of those things. And when you do this, my whole community's watching. We don't know what to do.
I understand your opinion.
It's not an opinion. So I will show you my samples.
I don't want to see your samples.
Why is that?
You can take those to
But
my
you're
farm.
flying the plane. But then how do I get...
There you go. So my wife, she asked me, she said, well, man, Dwayne, how can people knowingly do this? Like, that you're spraying stuff and it's damaging people below. I always wondered that when I would look at this stuff and, these pilots up there and I see this and I'm like, how can you just knowingly do this kind of stuff? And I said, honey, listen, people will sell out their mama, your mama's dog, your mama's house. They would do it for anything for a bag. I mean, there are people out there that are just that dumb and evil. They're dumb. It's one thing to be dumb, but dumb and evil. There are many people out there that would do this. And, that are out there that would do stuff. No, all these politicians out here, you don't think they're not aware of this stuff? The same politicians that want to get you riled up on some racial stuff or whatever, they know good and doggone well the impact of putting fluoride in your water, or, these people up here spraying stuff and, or they geoengineering, they want to block the sun. You don't think these people don't have that information handed to them? They don't want to know because they don't want the responsibility of knowing. So instead, they want to get you scared up on some other stuff. But this is crazy. This is insane. And I'm glad for people like that who are willing to step up and say, hey, listen, you ain't nowhere to go. I got all the paperwork right here. So my question is, why are you doing this stuff? And, it's up to them and see where that goes. But yeah, I think we need to continue to talk about this stuff. It is very real. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. You got to start believing what you are seeing, and what you're seeing is real. Yes, they are in fact spraying some stuff up there, and it is increasingly showing in our soils, in our water, and all that stuff. And we must take this stuff extremely, extremely seriously. Okay, this is one of my tasks here on this platform, is really trying to get our people to pivot from always reacting to things emotionally to start looking at facts. Because when you have to confront people like this lady did and others, you got to bring paperwork. You can't be out there. Why you can't be doing all that, because they ain't trying to hear you. But you come up there with paperwork and they ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean? Or when we're talking about stuff that's happening in DC and all, or you're talking about finances and stuff like that, you got to talk paperwork. You got to talk numbers. You got to talk charts. You understand what I'm saying? All this screaming and hollering and neck rolling and all finger wagging, that ain't working. It doesn't work. All that what Maxine Waters was doing, that's of yesteryear. That don't work anymore. Okay, there are too many technologies out here right now that we have access to right now that you can come up with, that you have access to, and it's free, and you can know a lot of this stuff, and you can be better prepared when you have to confront people, instead of always relying on, well, I'm going to show them something. I'm going to knock them upside the head. No. We ain't got to do that anymore. No, now we got to come up. We got to bring our A game up. And like I said, again, there are a lot of tools out there that can help you with that. And that's what we want. One of these days, we will do a broadcast where we'll show you, some things you can do with some of these AI platforms and stuff like that. One day we'll do that. Okay. But anyway, that is all I have for this broadcast here. And I really, really appreciate you guys being with us this evening. Listen, y'all, have yourself a great weekend. Okay, the weekend, y'all, it's the weekend. Make sure you enjoy it. Enjoy it with those that you love. If they ain't around, listen, sit back, relax, get you some tea, get you some sunlight, do whatever, but make it a great one, okay? Listen, you guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.